Okay, welcome to another episode of the DYP Expert Talks, and this is a session I've been waiting for a while now. It's an absolute honor to have India's leading digital coach and lifestyle entrepreneur and a gem of a person who has actually helped a lot of people from various industries actually lead the right way online. Let's welcome Siddharth Rajsekar on our talks. And I'm super excited to talk to you, Siddharth, about how one can build the presence online the right way. Like what is the right way of actually building a presence by also living the life of freedom? And I know you love this word freedom. So,
Yes.
It's all over your brand and, the way you speak. So I just wanted to start with, how did you actually want to build a brand around the word freedom?
Awesome.
What was your whole take on this? Like, how did all this start?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for inviting me to this interview. I think it's great the way that you've been also building your brand and bringing out this.
Thank you.
Which is a very essential part of any kind of leadership positioning. If you look at it, there is the offline angle, and then there's a digital angle. The digital angle is becoming the more predominant part today, especially with everyone is they have to have their presence online. So for me, my story is an Alice in Wonderland story. I never knew I would be doing what I'm doing right now. It's like I got into that rabbit hole and it just took me to a different place in a different world altogether. So I'm a musician turned internet geek. So I got into the music industry. I used to make a lot of music for games and all that space for a good few years. Then I set up my digital agency in 2011. So ran that for a good 6 years. In fact, during that phase, I was analyzing all the influencers, like how they were building their brands online. Like, for example, we have done campaigns for Jack Canfield, Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, T. Harv Eker's this first Millennium Man Intensive that happened in India. We did the lead generation for that. Yeah. So I went through a whole journey of analyzing these people for a long time. Understanding what are they doing, how are they posting, and they had huge influence. Like I'm talking on social media channels. And predominantly the book, most of these, I would say the previous gen influencers have been a book that has led to their big, celebrity status, success. And they start to leverage digital for more reach. So during that phase, I was studying all these people. Then I started to see that the next breed of influencers come out, like the Gary V's. And then we have the Grant Cardones and so many, the Tai Lopez's of the world, all they started to build again. Their approach was not like a typical old school book launching into influence, but they were like full on videos, getting on video. I think Gary Vee, he's been on videos for I think more than 13-14 years from Wine Library days, and that's what has now made him what he is today with high volume content, multiple pieces of content.
Very true.
So I was looking at those patterns also, like exactly how that's happening. And then I was seeing a different school of influencers who are not so loud, who are not so, not doing like 20 posts per day, but they were completely like not so active on social media, but creating impact and building communities, like private networks, private communities, more like selling their own products. So my journey has been like I've taken elements from all these different people that I've observed over the years. From the legend celebrities to the next gen, and now we have the quiet influencers who are actually making a difference. And I was able to take elements, and so I created my own version of all those elements. So my journey has been a completely an experimental journey. And in fact, you opened up this interview saying, let's learn more about how to do things in the right way. I feel there's no right way. It's like you just need to do it, and then you'll know what's really working for you and what's not working. You just evolve in that way.
Yeah, awesome. So I mean, this is a whole different school of thought actually, if you think about it, and when you put it all together, you get what you want to design in the end.
Yes.
And that is amazing. That's a really nice takeaway from what you said in terms of building your entire brand around the word freedom. And this is something that is actually a lot of people want it, right? They want that whole thing where you deliver value, you give what you have to do, and you give your best. You give 10 times of what you are actually offering. And you get the freedom in between, because you want that work-life balance. You want, people, you want to go travel, you want to do so many things, right? So great. I mean, that is, something that many entrepreneurs love doing and love going ahead. Great. Okay. So how was your experience at the start of your business? Like when you actually started, I mean, what was that whole, they say success is shabby. So how did it all start like there? Yeah.
So the starting point of my entrepreneurial journey was when I lost my job 2011. So I had to decide whether to get back to a job or start a business. And I'd clocked in 8 years in the corporate world. So even though I come from I'm not a graduate or any of that stuff. I just worked my way up with the passion. I was surrounded by good people. I was blessed with good bosses who really encouraged me to grow up. So all of that really helped. So 8 years in corporate life, then I got the pink slip, and I had to decide whether I had to get back to a job or entrepreneurship. So the starting part of entrepreneurship was, it was like this. It was exciting, but also nervous. Like I did not know what to expect. I've seen my dad run a business. I've seen my grandpa run his business, but I was not really understanding what was going on inside. Even though 2 generations have been entrepreneurs in the family, but still, my parents said, okay, you go and get a job,
Yeah, okay.
So, but I had to rediscover myself. So I took a lot of courses in that initial phase. And luckily I had a business partner and we had a few mentors. BNI was there. BNI, the support, a lot of education happened in BNI. I was a BNI member for more than 5 years. So
nice.
Learning about entrepreneurship, I think that was a great starting point for me. So the initial phase was a lot about learning how to create good offerings in terms of services. I was running a digital agency. Then I started to learn how to sell the services, because I'm not a salesperson or anything. I don't come from that background. I'm a musician, I should be behind my laptop making music, and I had to learn these new skills of going and meeting people, clients. And then I got into the training side. After 3 years into the agency model, I started to train on doing workshops, and from the workshops I used to get a lot of clients. So I started to get good at understanding the sales process.
Right.
Then I went into doing video proposals.
Wow.
I cracked a few deals sending video proposals. So, if an inquiry would come, I would look at all the points that they filled up in the form. Then I would actually record a video with a mind map and all, telling them exactly what they're going to get, what are the deliverables, what's the costing, what's the offer, and I would send that to them. And I would close a lot of deals like that. And that really helped in that phase. I was excellent at doing video proposals during that phase in my agency. So the entrepreneurial journey, I think it taught a lot of things, but a few big challenges that I faced personally as an entrepreneur. One was the freedom element. I did not have freedom in my business. I wanted to be my own boss, but I ended up having 35 bosses. Like all my clients became my boss. So any escalation, call said, and I would be there. So it really affected my health in 2015, 2016, around that time. Went through a panic attack. Could not sleep for 2 weeks. It was a pretty tough situation. And then because I was not taking care of myself, I was like overworking. I was in Bangalore at that time, driving like 2-3 hours in traffic, coming back, and my first child was I think 2-3 years old, and so there was a lot of juggling happening with the family, and all of this going on. So the big challenges I faced was the whole churn of people in the organization, churn of clients, that constant run in terms of making ends meet, paying salaries on time, paying the taxes. And as an entrepreneur, I would take back only something home, which I really did not feel really good about it for many years. And the hope was there. Yes, hope was, yes, one day it's going to become good. But 5 years, 6 years went down the line, and that's when 2018 I decided to transition. Let me move away from a services model to a product-based model, where let me just drive more profitability in the business with a lean and mean team and not having too many overheads. So I took that personal decision to make that transition. So that's been the journey of entrepreneurship. I mean, it's been like many ups and downs in that journey.
Great. Awesome. By the way, the whole passion towards music, that is something that I completely relate with, because initially when I had just started out as an entrepreneur, I was also into training, coaching, all that, but I always wanted to be a DJ. That was my main thing. Okay. So I used to get into, I love techno, I love tech house, I love, this underground music, and it's always fascinated me. But one is my parents never used to allow me. They always said, no, this is not the thing for you. It's not the thing for you. But then, I kind of saw the wise side of, getting into training and coaching, because I knew that there is something about it. So I completely relate, with what you said in terms of, how you transition from one to another and finally you got to where you are today. So which brings me to this question, which is, I think, the best question in this entire interview is, why is building an online presence so important these days? Like, why is it so important these days?
It's a no-brainer, because if you're not on the internet, you don't exist. It's like that today. But let's look at it in a different paradigm. If you look at most of the brands of the past, they've all been logos, like the Apples, the Nikes, the Dell and the HPs, the logos. But now we are seeing this whole evolution of where the brands are the faces. So people like to connect with people. And even if you look at, say, Elon Musk is the brand, but he has many companies behind him. Or Gary Vee is the brand, and he's got like VaynerX, some 11, 12 companies behind him.
Yes.
So a personality-driven, thing is so much more powerful, because there can be a personal connect. And through the personal connect, you can have multiple ventures at the back that can actually fuel each other. So yeah, I think building a personal brand is the only way to have a more deeper connect with an audience. And today, if you look at the customers, everybody is smart enough to understand intentions of people, or they're smart enough to see through what does that person really stand for, and is it really like something he wants to take out of the market, or does he want to give back to the market? All those perceptions people can easily pick up, and that's why it's all the more important to build
an online presence.
An online presence.
Yeah, so great. I mean, that is also said that, they say you should be really transparent when you're putting your story out there and, just talking openly. But, adding to this entire thing, this question, I mean, what really is about the transparency of a person? I mean, there are some people who hesitate to, really tell what they really want to do, or they hesitate that, okay, this is my story and, I don't know how to share it. So how would you actually tell somebody to do it that way? What would be the first thing that they should think about when they are actually, planning to tell their story out there, especially for the new entrepreneurs, people who are just starting out? Yeah.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
We know, facts tell, stories sell, and stories is what creates a connect with an audience. But having said that, my mentor has shared with me is that when you are going through a tough situation, don't share that story at that moment. You have to share a story after you've been through it. After you've actually passed through the situation. So whenever I share even my story of losing my job, or flunking my 12th, or struggling in the business, it's something that has happened. I've got some lessons, and now it is I'm not facing that situation anymore. So the thing about stories is to share things which you are not going through and you've overcome. So it really becomes a lesson that others can take from, take and learn. And the other thing about stories is, I've noticed the more vulnerable you are, the more trust you can actually build.
Absolutely.
Because most people like to only showcase the good side of themselves, or they don't like to speak about their flaws, which is usually it's like a very counterintuitive thing. So I've noticed every time I've gone out there and said, shared some message where I've spoken about my flaws, and then what I learned from that, I felt the people trusted me more, or the trust started to move up more. So it's a very counterintuitive thing, because everybody wants to build trust in the marketplace by showing off what they've done, but for me, it's the complete
the other way around.
Thing. It's the other way around. And most people don't get it. Like, even I see many marketers, even in some big influencers also, it's like flashing cars, going, and they have like a market for that. There's no doubt.
I think I know who you're talking about. It's okay.
Yes. So it attracts that market. So their vibe attracts their tribe.
Yeah, true.
But over a period of time, I think now people are getting smarter to understand that, that is all just flash. We want the real stuff. We want to know who you are. You're a human being. I'm a human being. We need to understand that human to human connect, and what are those vulnerabilities. And when that comes out, then
the relatability factor also increases that way, right?
Yes.
To a whole new level.
See, and if you want to attract customers for life, you have to be transparent. There's no other way. You have to be open, and people should know what you're also going through. But the key point is that when you're going through some crap, don't share that at that moment. Get out of it, and then bring it out later on what you learned. Yes.
That's a message to the new entrepreneurs who are saying, okay, I'm going to tell my story, but right now I'm experiencing a change in the COVID pandemic scenes, and I want to talk about it and what's happening right now. Don't do that. Do it much later. Right? That's what Siddharth's message is over here to you. Yes. Okay, so every entrepreneur wants to stand out in their industry, and they say that, what makes me different from the rest? Do share your perspective on positioning oneself in the industry. What is your thoughts on that?
See, if you look at the way the internet is growing right now, there are a lot of people doing very similar things. Like if you look at what I'm doing, there are hundreds of people doing it. If you're looking at what you're doing, personal branding, there are so many coaches doing similar things. And what I feel has worked for me personally, like just in the last 25, 27 months of being in the trenches, doing this thing on a daily basis is a unique representation of concepts. Okay, so like for example, if I'm learning from 3-4 different mentors, I integrate all that knowledge, but the way that I present it on my YouTube videos or my podcasts would come from my own head, which means that I sit with a clean sheet of paper, and then I put those points down based on what is coming from here. It is, and based on what has been assimilated based on all the learnings that has happened. So when it comes to unique positioning, the first step is to bring out original ideas. So even though every idea is not original, but the presentation can be original. Now, there's nothing that's not said, in the world. It's always there in some books and stuff. But for digital marketing tools and tactics that keep changing. Okay, but I'm talking about evergreen principles of business and growth, and let's look at branding itself. It'll go back to the Ogilvy days. It's still going to be there, and even before, he would have learned from somebody else.
Very true.
In fact, I did a whole search on Tony Robbins' lineage. Okay, and it goes back 7 generations. I've actually found out what is that source, and then it's like goes back to Andrew Carnegie, and before Andrew Carnegie, I think was a multi-billionaire during his time back in the day, and he was the one who commissioned Napoleon Hill to do that research and put together the philosophy of success, which is the law of success, which became the Think and Grow Rich later. So there's a 7-generation lineage. So knowledge is coming down, and it's just the packaging. So even if you look at Jack Canfield's success principles, it's taken from law of success, from Napoleon, but he's represented in a different way, and he's built his niche around that.
Wow.
Even in Napoleon Hill's, I think the first or second chapter in Think and Grow Rich, there's a lot of mention about the secret. So Rhonda Brand has picked it up, the secret. Okay. So it's all connected. It's all connected. So what I'm here to tell everyone you're watching is there's no information that is new, that's unique. It's all somebody has already shared it, but you can be unique in your representation of that knowledge, the way that you present it. So even though there's coaching, there's affiliate marketing, there's information products, it's always been there for the last few years, but I've created like a unique positioning with the freedom business model. Now that's become like the buzzword, but it's essentially always been there. It's just the repackaging of existing stuff.
Absolutely. Like it's, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. You just want to kind of, put it in a better way, which you feel is your way. Like it's your own version, your own, understanding based on your stories and the way you have processed information. So cool. I really like that whole insight on Napoleon Hill and, taking it to a whole new level when it comes to bringing it down from generations, back to today's kind of knowledge that we actually consume. Right. So there are so many non-techie entrepreneurs watching this, this video, this interview as we speak. And they are also looking to grow their businesses online. A lot of people, especially during this whole pandemic, they're all thinking that, how? I mean, I've been doing it offline all this while. I did well. But now this whole transition, this whole thing, which has changed in the last, how many ever months, it is not letting me go online. So, there's a lot of things that are stopping them to go online. So please share 5 actionable tips for them to get started without being overwhelmed.
Okay, so I think the first step is to drop the tags, saying that I'm non-technical, I'm this, I'm that. Whenever you say I am dash, right, it actually closes you from learning anything new. Like I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm just a student, I'm non-technical, I am this. So all those I am tags, just drop the tags. That's the first step. Okay. The second step, what you got to do is be very clear on what is your objective. See, everybody wants, make money, make profits, but there has to be an objective which is beyond just that. Like, what is the deeper mission of your business? So what kind of an impact do you want to create? Because once you're clear about that, then you'll automatically know which are the paths that will not take you there. So when like you said, a destination on Google Maps, Google is going to give you the direction. And let's say there's a roadblock. It's going to detour, but it'll give you the shortest route to that destination. And it'll not, once you know where you want to go, you'll automatically know where you should not go as well.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with entrepreneurs, is when they're not clear about the destination, then everything looks shiny in the digital space. Like you end up just going and consuming so much information and get overwhelmed. Okay, so the second step is getting clear on the goal, and the third on the objective. The third step is to then follow one mentor, whichever mentor that you want to pick. Like that's what I did in my case. Is like I relentlessly focused on following one system and not jumping around like one butterfly, learning from different things. It really does not work. It was messing up my own head, at the end of that. So when I followed one mentor, things just started to work, because I followed that system. I would just follow it to the T. And so that's the third step. Third step is follow one system, take it to the finish line, and then you can explore other possibilities that are there. The fourth step is you have to be in the game. You cannot score runs sitting in the pavilion. You have to be playing the game. Now, how fast you score runs, that's irrelevant. But as long as you don't get out, you're going to be scoring runs. So in the digital game also, learning those tools, being in the game, being hands-on, learning video marketing, learning how to use Instagram, how to use Facebook advertising, like all those basic essential skills that you need. Pick up those skills before you can start to outsource them later on. Which leads me to step number 5 is then you can scale. Is the only way you can scale is when you have the hands-on knowledge on what is possible. And scalability can be in multiple ways. Number 1 is you can either automate all your systems yourself. 2 is you can delegate it. Delegate to internal teams. 3 is you can outsource it to external teams. I have a lot of my guys, like my video editors, I outsource it. My advertising, Facebook ads is outsourced. My Google ads is outsourced. Initially, I used to run all of them myself. But now that I know what are the benchmarks and what to keep in mind, for me, it's better to guide them on how to do. So I can focus all my energy on my core, which is researching and coming up with content and new ideas. So these are the 5 steps. Yeah.
Superb. So guys, just a little heads up, Siddharth's my mentor as well. Okay. He's also coached me and got me online. And it's because of Siddharth's, that whole, the step-by-step process from the mindset to, working with the goals, the vision, the mission, every aspect, right till, scaling up. I have learned every single step. So I can vouch for the fact that Siddharth is somebody who will guide you the right way. Because, the thing is, there has to be a realistic way of looking at things as well, right? When you see that, okay, you're non-techie. Now, when I first said I'm non-techie and when I, went to Siddharth and I said, no, I'm going to do this, I was like, okay, this is not so difficult after all, right? You just have to put your skin in the game, as what Siddharth said. And, you take it to a whole new level. And if you really, really want to do something about it, you will do it. You don't have a choice. You will do it because you will not give a choice to yourself. So great. That's a great share, Siddharth. Thank you so
Diya.
much.
Thank you. And you're a rock star. You've been really at it last few months.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Thank you so much. Okay. So coming towards the end of it, your top 3 influencers to learn from and why?
Okay. The first person, in fact, more than influencers, I will use the word mentors.
Yeah.
Okay. So because influencers can be influencing in any direction. So, okay. So my first mentor is Blair Singer. So he's the one who actually helped me understand the difference between, a trainer and a leader. So that was like a huge. So I've been through his trainer. I'm sure you've also been through his training programs.
Yes.
And he's the one who opened up my mind to a new way of possibilities. Yeah, he's a rich dad advisor, and now he's starting to get more to doing online events and stuff. He's usually popular in the offline world, but now he's getting online. So Blair Singer is a person that I follow. And the code of honor, a lot of those principles I learned from him. Like, how do you really build something which is inside out? And he shares this, this example of a bumblebee. And I would like to just share that because it's a very impactful
Please go for
analogy that he shares. He says that, we are all like worker bees. So like we need to take the example of a bumblebee. So a worker bee, what it does is its only work is to go and get nectar from different flowers. Okay, it just goes and gets honey. And it comes back. It does not focus on anything else. When it wakes up in the morning, it goes and gets honey and comes back. But in that process of the bee going and getting the nectar from different flowers, another activity happens, which is cross-pollination.
Yes.
So with that one activity of that bee, it actually is helping the flora and fauna. Everything else is blooming because of that cross-pollination that happens. Now he said that same thing can happen in a knowledge business like what we're doing here. Like we as trainers and coaches, and if you are calling us as influencers and personal branding, we just need to focus on doing what we are good at. And of course, in our case, our honey is going to be the money, so we're going to be going after building our business
Nice.
with the right intention, with the right principles. And what I'm seeing right now is with me focusing on, say, building my business with that focus, the cross-pollination is happening right now. We have so many people like you're building your own tribe. We have so many other people building their own tribes. And that ripple is going in a totally different direction.
Yes.
So this principle, it really hit my head. It went very deep when he shared that with me in an event. And I'll always remember this every day. So it is my responsibility to do my work on a daily basis without worrying about the results. That ripple is going to keep moving. So Blair is my first mentor. My second mentor is Vic Strizes, who is from the US. He's a father of 6 kids. Okay, I did not follow that path of mentorship, but yes, he is an amazing guy. He's. I still remember 2018 when I won a contest. I met him for the first time in the US. Like he does over $1 million a month. Very grounded, amazing human being. What I could resonate with him is family oriented, spiritually oriented, and long-term thinking. Like all those value systems really aligned with me. And even though it was it was a yacht party, 2 days in a yacht and stuff, we did not drink, we did not do anything. I don't, I'm a teetotaler. I like to live a clean life. So even on those aspects, we were able to resonate. So, and very, he's very committed to his wife. He's very committed to the family. So those kind of values, it really resonated with me. So
nice.
Whatever I've learned from, as far as the digital ecosystem is concerned, like how to build the digital ecosystem and not just be an influencer who's just posting content. I know many influencers, they have huge influence, like millions of followers, but they don't have an email list.
I completely
they don't have an
agree
ecosystem.
Yeah.
So,
I've seen that.
Yeah. So that is something which I learned from Vic, and he's been able to build a business in that way. And the third mentor who's had a profound impact in my life is Sam Owens, consulting.com. I've been through his consulting accelerator, and he brings in a totally different view of mindset, reprogramming, understanding and developing products that can go deep into understanding the customer customer pain points. So these 3 people have impacted my life. And besides that, I think if I should put one more into the mix, is somebody that I would aspire to be when I'm 70, 80 years old, is Dr. John DeMartini.
Oh, lovely.
So,
he's a gem of a guy. That's
somebody
we can all learn from. Yeah. He's really good. I mean, I even follow him on Instagram or whenever he puts up, even if he puts up like one video in I don't know how many days. I think I don't think he posts very often, right? That's the thing. Yes. So even when he posts one of those times, I'm like, okay, I need to stop and read and watch this. It's like that. So he's
and you have to watch it 3-4 times to really get it. He's such an insightful educator. I just love Dr. DeMartini. Yeah.
Great, awesome. This has been a great conversation with you, Siddharth, and I'm so happy to have you on board. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your insights, your story. It has been an absolute pleasure to, take this interview with you. And I would really like to tell this one message to the entrepreneurs whoever's watching this, even coaches, trainers, whoever's watching this. I would really like you to go with an open mind and, pull it out there and just go and do things that you really been wanting to do. So that is a great guy to learn from. You can go ahead, you can, get into his ecosystem, you can learn from him. I'm into personal branding, so, we can also work together in terms of building your brand. So there are so many people who are already doing it, and we all have come from somewhere, we have all had our own stories and we have grown out of it and we have come here to where we are today. So great. I mean, I would like to end this by saying thank you so much for sharing this once again. And Siddharth, if you would like to share your social media handles, where can people find you? I know if you go type Siddharth Rajsekar, it's going to just come out there, but just for the
best place is follow me on YouTube. I keep rolling out in-depth tutorials at least 3-4 times in a week. So just search for my name and you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's a good starting point.
Awesome.
And I'm starting to get more active on Instagram right now. I've been dominant there, but I'm doing a lot of reels. Follow me on Instagram.
That's a new thing now from Siddharth.
Yes.
And also he does, I think you do, when is your next free webinar? Also, you can just, I can share the link below as well. And
yeah, if you go to Sidz,
yeah.
sidz.co/live, you can connect with me live.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
that's the link that keeps out getting
Great.
updated on my next live event.
Great,
Yes.
great. Super awesome. So great. Thank you so much for this. This has been an amazing thing. I hope everyone has learned something from this. If you're listening to this on my podcast, please do comment below saying that, what have you learned from it? If you have learned from my YouTube channel, then please comment below, like, subscribe, and yes, watch out for more. I will see you around soon. Bye-bye.